I am very unaccustomed to being behind the microphone, so I'm going to try and stumble through this, and I'm looking at a 15-minute time limit. This is probably not going to take 15 minutes.
Just don't touch the microphone.
Promise not to. You know how many kids I've told that? Since the inception of this award, I've attended, I think, every one of these presentations and watched a fellow city employee up here accepting this and speaking gracefully and making it through their remarks to the council. And one thing that becomes clear, which has been echoed already, is the amount and number of city employees that we have that go above and beyond the call of duty every day. There is no such thing anymore as a 40-hour work week. We're all being called upon to do more with less, but our city employees still find that time on top of all of that to do so much more. And I think all of the past nominees that are here, past recipients, should get another round of applause. As you've already heard, receiving this award has taken on a pretty special meaning for me as I started off on this executive assistant branch with Karl. Karl had one of the best attitudes about life of anybody that I've encountered. He loved the city, he loved the East Side, and he would talk nonstop about it. Another thing that maybe Joanne can confirm, Karl didn't walk, he bounced. So he kind of had this little bounce to him all the time. And that's something that I think it came out when he talked, it came out when you saw him out and about in the community. And now that I've got a captive audience, I'm going to add to the story of when I interviewed with Karl. My husband and I bought our house a really long time ago, 1991. And we were I was out one day looking at the landscaping, trying to figure out what to do, and there's this guy walking down my street going from house to house. My Rice Street radar went up. I mean, what are you doing going from house? Who are you? What are you doing? And it was Karl, and he was door knocking, and I was kind of walking around my front yard, and he came up to me and said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, we just bought this house. I'm trying to, figure out what to do here." "Oh, I'm Karl Neid. I'm running for City Hall. Or City Council. Why don't you do this? Why don't you?" He started making all these suggestions about what I could do. And we talked a little bit longer, and one thing I didn't do is told him where I worked. I did not tell him what I did. Fast forward to November when I was asked to interview with Karl. And I walked in the front door, and he had papers, and he was rustling them, and he looked up, and he said, "Hey, how'd the landscaping turn out?" Just didn't miss a beat. He just, that was his way. Karl was always volunteering for anything he could do to help further his community, something that I know Joanne can attest to better than anyone else. However, he also held his family very near and dear to his heart, and I saw that in him pretty much every day. In the short time I worked for Karl, I was honored to become a part of that family. We went to a Neil Diamond concert. Karl and Joanne hosted a Seder. I went to my first Seder dinner. It was great. And then a couple of times, Karl and he would just say, let's go have dinner. Let's get to know each other better. So that it was just something that he was just genuine in his want to get to know me and get to know what I was all about. And in the short time that we were acquainted, I learned that while he was here on this earth for a little more than 40 years, he shoved twice that into the time that he had here. He embodied all of that, and that's why this award is so special to me. Fast forward to 8 years ago when the mayor took office and I started helping with these ceremonies. Last year I got to see my fellow Rice Streeter and St. Bernard's alum, Rick Zeck, receive this award, which was great. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out why this year it was so tough to get any information out of anyone. Now I, of course, know why. But today I'm standing before you as a city employee with really far too many years to mention here, but I'm going to mention them, 27 and a half years. I'm humbled to accept this award. Really not only as someone who's caught I've got that I'll volunteer for anything thing going on for me, I really want to honor those who have helped me become who I am today. And first of all is my dad. Okay, now I'm going to cry. my dad, Charlie Serfolian, he's here. See, Holly, I do cry. My dad served 36 plus years with the St. Paul Fire Department. And realistically, I think of the words above and beyond the call of duty, and I think of my dad. He always went above and beyond the call daily. I got to watch that every day as a small child. I also think I'm unique in the point that I think the city of St. Paul has housed and fed me my entire life. For my dad in here. My mom, Jean Serfolian, who can't be here today, my mom has rheumatoid arthritis. She faces pain every day that most of us can't even think about. And she wakes up every day with a smile. She's got a razor-sharp wit, and you have to really listen to my mom because she'll say things under her breath, and you'll think, did you just say that? Didn't say that out loud. So my mom. My husband, Joe, for letting me do pretty much exactly what I want, not that you have a whole lot of choice in that matter, but thank you. My kids, Dana and Holly, in the front row, they help me realize every day why I need to give more, and they inspire me to be a better person. And if I haven't said so in the last 10 minutes, how proud I am of both of my girls. Dana is headed off to the University of Bologna in about a month. She'll be there for a year. Very proud of her, very excited for that opportunity for her. Holly just gave a speech at her 8th grade graduation, and she did so, let me tell you, with probably a lot less nerves than I'm having right at this moment in time. I also want to thank my extended Serfolian and Ryder family and my friends that took the time out of their busy schedules today to be here. I really, truly appreciate that. I'd also like to thank my past City of St. Paul bosses, coworkers, everyone for instilling in me the passion, not only to volunteer, but to help show kids that they need to keep that passion going. I hope that's one thing that I've given my kids, that they'll want to get out and do more in your community, because that's the next generation is what's going to carry that forward. I'd like to thank my fellow mayor's office employees, particularly Nancy Homans, whom, as you've heard, she really should be up here giving this speech, in my head, in my mind, and Ann Hunt for nominating me. Thank you very much. And all of the members of the Karl Neid Award Committee. Mayor Coleman, thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve in this role that allows me to really participate in the future of the city. I've lived here almost my whole life, and I'm proud to continue that. And last, but in really no means least, to Councilmember Karl Neid for sharing his vision with all of us, for showing through his actions what each of our small corners of the world can look like with just a little bit of TLC. And now I'm going to end up, when I listened to Holly give her speech, she ended it with a quote from an author by the name of Neil Gaiman. And I'm not going to use your quote, Holly, but I'm going to use a different one. And he just gave this advice at a commencement address that he gave recently. And it's, I hope in the years to come you make mistakes, because if you are making mistakes, you're doing something. And let's all go out and do something.